It began, as these things often do, with a message from deep space. Kara Zor-El, better known to most as Supergirl, caught it intercepted on the Justice League's comms feed. A string of threats, curses, and a demand for the galaxy's strongest to show themselves. The sender?
Lobo.
The main man? Interstellar bounty hunter? Unkillable nuisance? And a singular headache for anyone with a cape. It wasn't entirely clear what Lobo actually wanted. The message seemed more like a drunken dare than a contract. A call-out sprinkled with planetary coordinates, insults directed at Kryptonian anatomy, and a guarantee. Face him, or he'd start flattening cities on Earth. Supergirl knew the deal. If he wasn't dealt with, Lobo's idea of a casual brawl would end with flattened buildings and panicked headlines. So, she answered. They met just outside the stratosphere, hovering above a storm-brushed Pacific, far from prying eyes and packed cities. Lobo arrived early, engines roaring louder than seemed physically possible. The Charnian was grinning, wielding a hook and chain in one fist, a crushed cigar in the other. Supergirl was composed, floating with arms, folded lips pressed in the thinnest of smiles. Lobo didn't bother with warnings. He charged, chain swinging, eager to make good on his promise of mayhem. Supergirl dodged the first blow, which would have obliterated a lesser opponent and most satellites in its path. She retaliated, a punch to the jaw. Lobo only laughed, not even fazed, and swung again with twice the force. It was clear this clash was going to be messy. Unlike most of his kind, Lobo didn't tire. He thrived on chaos, soaking up damage that would have smashed tanks to scrap. Supergirl, though, was faster, sharper, and just as unyielding. As they traded blows, the ocean below roiled, winds whipping up cyclones in their wake. Still, Supergirl knew she couldn't underestimate him. Kryptonian strength met Charnian durability a stalemate, at first. Visible only as flashes of blue and streaks of metal in the sky. Whenever she landed a hit, Lobo bounced right back, delighted to keep going, taunting her with every impact. The world's militaries tracked their progress nervously, satellites beaming live feeds to hastily assembled crisis rooms. On Earth, only a few heroes bothered to tune in. Most knew better than to interfere when Lobo was in town. Batman watched from the cave, already drafting contingencies in case things turned south. Superman was off-world, trusting his cousin. After an hour, the fight ramped up. Lobo, tiring of the aerial skirmish, produced a device from his belt, a tiny black orb, tossed it at Supergirl's feet. Releasing a cloud of null energy designed to sap Kryptonian powers, the field enveloped her for a split second. But Lobo had underestimated Kara. She burst from the cloud, her vision flaring with heat, incinerating the device before it could fully take hold. Lobo took this as a cue to get creative. He directed his chain to grip her, flinging her down through the clouds, straight toward a deserted volcanic island below. The force left a crater, spitting up magma and steam, but Supergirl was already above him, driving him into the rock with a pivoting kick. Lobo's laughter echoed, even as lava bubbled around them. This continued blow for blow, crater for crater. The landscape changed with every exchange. As impressive as it was, Supergirl realized that simply trading hits was getting nowhere. Lobo would keep coming, over and over, as long as he was having fun, which for him could be indefinitely. So, she switched tactics. She started talking. She referenced a bounty. One she knew Lobo had failed to collect months ago. Rival Charnian, who'd outbid him. She reminded him as concisely as possible that if he spent all day with her, that rival would finish the job, and Lobo's reputation would be shot. She offered him an out. Walk away now. Take the loss before he drew unwanted attention, and maybe she'd forget this ever happened. Lobo, to his credit, paused. Ego and greed warred across his battered face. Then, with a long calculated exhale, he turned his back. It's not a surrender, just a tactical retreat. He spat, wiped ash from his chin, and grinned. You win this round, Kryptonian? He rocketed away, the horizon booming in his wake. Supergirl hovered above the ruined island, scanning for casualties. There were none, just wreckage, steam, and a few confused seabirds. Earth was safe, for now. That was the thing about Lobo. You could never fully stop him, not for long. But sometimes the best victories were the ones where nobody lost too much. The main man lived to fight another day. Supergirl returned to the sky. The world spun on, blissfully unaware of how close it had come to disaster. At least until next time.